Hi, I'm Lexie Cataldo, and I'm a photographer. This is my daughter.
Hi, I'm Asia Cataldo. I'm a makeup artist, and we live in Los Angeles, California.
We recently took a river cruise from Paris to Normandy and back to Paris again. And we had a fantastic time, and I really want to share some of the photos that I took with you.
Before we get started, here's a quick little video of our itinerary.
This 8-day itinerary features iconic Paris, plus the quiet beauty of Normandy. Your journey begins as you board your Viking ship, located near the Eiffel Tower. It's an ideal base from which to explore the city's many wonders as you enjoy an overnight stay. Then it's on to La Roche-Guyon and Vernon, where you're welcomed by beautiful half-timbered houses in these quintessentially French villages. You'll travel on to Giverny, home of Impressionist Claude Monet, and stroll through his beloved gardens. In Rouen, the detailing on the spectacular Gothic cathedral will take your breath away. Along the Normandy coast, set foot on the D-Day landing beaches and pay tribute to the soldiers of World War II. You'll sail on to picturesque Les Andelys with its imposing Chateau Gaillard. From Le Pec, you'll sail off for Napoleon's Chateau Malmaison, where he spent his final days in France. Or you can explore the majestic Palace of Versailles on an optional excursion. Your memorable Viking voyage concludes back in Paris, where you may choose to extend your stay and explore even more of this remarkable city.
I think this was a really interesting trip because we got to not only see Paris and Normandy, but we saw everywhere in between. And I'd never seen any of the French countryside before. So it was really cool to see different towns along the way. As we get into the photos, we'll show you just what our schedule was like exactly. But I'm sorry.
No, keep going.
Okay. As we get into the photos more, we'll show you that we start mostly in Paris and then we move on along the river and then we end up back in Paris on our last day.
We stopped in different places in the countryside there, and I think what was interesting to see is, I've only been, mainly in Paris, and to see these incredible, cute little towns that were right off the boat. These towns that we were just able to walk through, and it was such a leisurely pace, and I was really surprised at how close it was to the ship, and to watch it was almost like, this was my first river cruise, so it was almost like if you look out the window and it was a moving scenery all the way through. It's like when you're in a house you see the same scenery, but it's an ever-changing scene. And it's always exciting. You get up in the morning and you look outside to see, what's today's scene going to be like, and depending if you're getting closer to a city, if you're getting towards the countryside, it was just such a serene, it was like a moving picture in your window. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, it was very exciting. And we started out with Paris. Paris was very fun. Everywhere you go in Paris, there's a memorable moment,
Everything's a picture. And this is when I got up at sunrise, which I'm not a morning person, but somehow I made up. And it's so nice because it's very quiet. Everybody's still starting to get up, and it's a gamble whether you're going to get a nice sunrise or not. I just hit jackpot with this. These are the houseboats that are in Paris. And to slowly see the sun coming up and trying to capture the light, trying to capture the beautiful images and the buildings and the reflections. It was so fun.
This was near the Notre Dame, right?
Yeah, it was pretty close to Notre Dame. And this was right on the Seine River there.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's, I thought it was, since we're taking photos, since we're going on the Seine River, I thought it was pretty, it was perfect to take all these beautiful sunrise photos.
The thing that I love about Paris too is that everything's so close together. So no matter where you are, there's so much history packed into these little spots that you can wander anywhere and you will be transported in time. Even this street right here, just a normal. Oh my gosh.
This. I remember I had to go to a store to pick up some camera equipment, and as I was passing by, I recognized this street from all these Instagram photos that I had seen. And it's so different from the rest of the neighborhood because of all this colorful buildings there. All the apartments are just brightly lit, and you see a lot of people taking their photos. It was so pretty. And I think there was the next photo, I think they have little decorations, and that one was of a little cat. And so these photos are there. I just fell in love with this little decoration. It's a little kitty cat. I don't know if you can see it there right in the middle of the photo. On the left-hand side, there's a little statue there, that little decoration. And then on the right-hand side, there's a photo of, I just love the contrast of the two colors and the shadow and the way the lights were coming onto this tree. It was just so beautiful. So it was just in a little, no matter where it is in a tiny neighborhood, you get so many photos.
Oh, the Louvre. This was my personal favorite of the trip. This is a huge highlight. I mean, you have some of the most famous art in the world in one place, and you could spend hours and hours and hours there. Unfortunately, the museum closes at a reasonable time, so there's only so much hours throughout the day that you can hang out there. But it's so fun to just stand in one place and just look at a painting for as long as you can, because you're never going to run out of things to see at this place. It's just so fascinating.
Oh my gosh, the artwork was just phenomenal. I mean, everything was, you're looking at the best of the best in the world. And to sit there and look at and see all this, it was just amazing. And you got to go through whether it's Egyptian art or Italian art, whatever it is that you want to go to. And it's just absolutely beautiful. The colors and how big they are. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that surprised me was just how big these art pieces were. So that was beautiful. And this was in Paris, I think.
This was in Montmartre. Montmartre is a very famous artistic area of Paris. It's where Picasso used to hang out. A lot of artists back in the day would hang out. It's a very cute neighborhood. There's a lot of fun boutiques. There's a lot of fun art, graffiti, things like that. So this is just one of the spots that had that. It's very unique. I don't think I've ever really seen any place like Montmartre anywhere else in the world.
And then on the left-hand side, you'll come across these walls, and all of a sudden it's like there's a painting there, and it's just this beautiful artwork on a wall. So it really was interesting. This here, it doesn't matter what mode of transportation you are. The Parisians are always looking at fashion, and I found these people on bikes and scooters. They're always just looking so smart. So I want to take some photos of them. And there was a number of scooters in Paris, which was surprising. I think that they're going to be banned pretty soon. But I just love the fact that there was so much people on foot, or look how they look good.
Everyone dresses so well just for doing simple transportation methods. It's very nice to see.
Yeah.
I think especially too in Los Angeles, we're not used to interacting with so many people because we don't have many great methods of transportation besides driving. So for us, it was really cool to come across so many people that we just wouldn't see day to day.
I saw this couple just sitting there and enjoying their moment, and I was noticing with the morning was just starting, the cars where everybody was moving, what have you, and they just reminded me of just taking that time to just relax and enjoy the moment. And so I quietly snapped a photo from the back, and it's a nice reminder for me.
It really was such a romantic city. Everyone was just, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. It was so sweet. Everyone was very loving in public, and it was really a nice sight to see. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful city. I mean, how could you not fall in love?
Oh yes, the Eiffel Tower.
The Eiffel Tower, and this is we boarded the boat now. The ship. I'm sorry, we boarded the ship, and we're getting ready to go on our trip, on our river cruise.
This was such a wonderful welcome onto the ship too. They laid out a red carpet. They made you feel so fancy and nice. They really just made you feel like royalty embarking on this journey.
Absolutely.
So this was a nice way to start off the actual boat trip, especially with this view. I mean, you can't beat that view. Look at the Eiffel Tower.
Exactly. And it was a little bit cloudy and rainy, but you know, it looks beautiful wherever it is. I mean, it's just, it doesn't matter. It almost adds to the atmosphere.
Oh, yes.
You know, I'd say, yeah, definitely. One of the first towns that we arrived into is Vernon and La Roche-Guyon, and I was actually really surprised because we got off the ship and we are just transported onto this beautiful park with this castle in the background, this chateau in the background. That this is, I believe, the Chateau La Roche-Guyon. Sorry for my French. I'm
Pardon my French.
Yes, exactly. I'm sure I'm massacring it, but in any case, I'm trying my best. And it was just a beautiful, quiet town. It was so peaceful. And it's just, you know, walking through, you're seeing the flowers and everything was blooming. It was just gorgeous. And the town was very quiet. Even when you walk through, there was just a peacefulness about it.
And this village was another village that was heavily affected during World War II. So you can see on the top of that mountain there, it was bombed back in the day, so there's not much that remains of that castle up on the hill. But still, despite that, you know, this village still has so much history, and it really is still so stunning despite what happened.
Yes. Oh yes, and then there was this on this little town, on this little. You walk down, there's this creperie, and I just love the way they decorate these little details that they put in to decorate their stores. So I have this little kitty cat there.
It feels like something out of a fairy tale, the way that these villages are set up. It's so cute.
It really is. It really is. I mean, they really pay attention to the small details there. And this was actually on the park there. I remember there were some farmers that were tending to to the garden, and I saw this mural there, and I just love the artwork that was there, the design of this modern type of art on this old, you know, park and chateau. It's like such a contrast, but it was beautiful. So this is a town. So this is a chapel from a town that Vincent van Gogh had lived in for a number of months now. And it was just beautiful, very peaceful. He really enjoyed living in this area because he found it very quiet and gorgeous, and he just wanted to paint this town. That's how beautiful it was.
And he actually ended up passing away in this town as well. So we got to see the hostel that he used to live in, and where he would paint these little pictures of parts of this town. It was really beautiful. There's a lot of things dedicated to him in this village.
Yes, and it was interesting because, you know, and this is his grave with his brother. With his brother, they did transport after his brother passed away. The wife of the brother transported his grave to be next to Vincent van Gogh because apparently they were so close, and they were almost like, even though they weren't twins, but they were just as close as twins would be, and so they transported his grave over. Yes. To lay next to his brother.
Even though it wasn't in their home country, she thought that they deserved to be next to each other for eternity, which is a really sweet thought.
It really was.
Yeah, and there's not even that much surrounding the grave. It's very simple.
Yeah. And then there was cherry blossoms there. It was just absolutely beautiful. It was so interesting because there was so much contrast. You had these beautiful cherry blossoms, but on that day, in fact, when we were in the church, all of a sudden somebody turned around and said, "Oh, it's hailing," and apparently the skies opened up, started downpouring, and there was hail. And Asia ran out to go take photos of videos, and somebody was saying, "Oh, she ran outside." And I said, "Oh, we're from California, so we're not used to it. Yeah, this is exciting for us."
It added to the magic. It really did.
It really did.
Despite all that, these cherry blossoms made it through.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden the sky was beautiful again, and we walked in through to these cherry blossoms. So I mean, it was just, you know, we were given so much in all different ways, in beauty and weather and in just so many ways. It was just incredible.
Oh, this is actually one of my favorite parts of the trip as well, was just traveling on the river. I would sit outside for hours on our balcony, and I would knit, just watching the towns go by. Everyone was so sweet. You would see random people waving at the ship. You'd see all these places that I had no idea even existed. This, I believe, was coming into Rouen.
I think so.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it was. This is right before we departed to see Joan of Arc, the church, and the site where she had passed.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, and so, yeah, like I said, it's a moving scenery here. So when we arrived in Rouen, we ran across so many different types of architecture, so many churches. I mean, it's just really interesting because it was one of those cities that was bombed heavily during World War II. And I think one of the most interesting things about this city was that you have architecture from all different periods of history. So you have beautiful, amazing churches such as this, and then you'll go into a different period where it might be an influence from the Germanic culture or what have you. I mean, it was just so incredible, interesting. I saw this building and it was just, look at the details on this.
These photos, they're incredible photos, but they really don't do it justice. Just how large and it's just extraordinary. The attention to detail on every building in these cities is just immaculate.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just each building seems to be an art piece in itself, and I think that that's one of what makes the architecture of all of France just so interesting, because I don't know who these architects are, or but they put their little personality in it. I mean, look
People
at these.
put their whole lives into building these.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the details are just incredible. Yeah, and that was the church with Joan of Arc.
I don't think I've ever felt awestruck. This was definitely a place that I couldn't even explain my emotions. Just seeing how massive this church was and how beautiful it was and quiet. It was so every little detail. I can see why it would take so many years to build something like this. It's just not something that we're used to seeing over in California. So to see buildings like this that are so old but so beautiful, it feels like it's connecting you through time and history.
No, I think you're right, because I think a lot of the modern buildings, it's more done with speed and time, so they don't have the time to take. And some of these buildings take decades and decades, or
100 years or so,
just to finish it. So I mean, so
yeah, some of these architects don't live to see the finished product.
True.
And a lot of churches in France are never actually finished. They're always kind of still adding and re-renovating things.
Yeah, it's
after
really,
hundreds of years.
It's amazing. And then again, here you have this completely different type of architecture. I think that it was just interesting and gorgeous and just so different. And this is all within just walking distance of one another. But yeah, it was really interesting. I love this. And then here, this is me being very artistic. Against this beautiful architecture and the shadows and what have you. It's not something that I see normally, so I just saw the trees reflecting on there, and I just thought it would make an interesting photo. And here again, on this background of this old architecture, is this modern painting.
I think that's kind of what's so funny about Rouen as well, is that you have these old buildings and then you'll have these modern stores in them. Like, for example, you'll have buildings like this, but it'll be a McDonald's or something, and then you have this beautiful artwork kind of like sitting in the middle. So it's really such a cool mixture of the current world versus the old world. It's really interesting. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it really was fun. It was fun. And then all of a sudden on the wall, like I said, somebody would come and do this painting.
Beautiful murals, beautiful graffiti.
Yeah. This is I think it's quote unquote graffiti.
Yes, but beautiful.
It's artwork. I mean, yes, it's really cute. I like this one. Yeah, and then look at the details on that.
Every building. It was just amazing.
Yeah, it really was. It really was.
Oh, this was in
this was in the church it was more of the modern church.
So Joan of Arc wasn't actually recognized as a saint until 1920. So there aren't many churches actually dedicated to Joan of Arc, except for this church, which is the Church of Saint Joan of Arc, which is built in the 70s. Seems very out of place. The architecture is very interesting. The walls are very curved. The building kind of looks like a hat. But this place was one of the first churches that's actually dedicated to Joan of Arc.
Yes, it was like it was pretty close to where she died on the stake. Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Yes. So the place that they think that was the approximate spot that she had died is where this church resides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have this. You have the people out there in, different styles, and this. I think they were cosplay players.
Yes.
Yeah, but I just thought there's such a contrast between this and the.
But what a cool
church.
Backdrop for them to have.
I know.
Yeah.
Everything's always like a very, very, very interesting backdrop, and God, especially as a photographer, it was so fun. And then here, it had rained, I guess, the day before, and I always look for puddles because I love reflections. I love to find puddles and see reflections in it. And this was one of the churches or what have you, and on a busy street. And I just wanted to show the different contrasts between this modern world and that.
Oh, I love that shot.
Yeah, and then even this one, I love the way the cobblestones match the color of the architecture there. And so I had, I wanted to just catch all these puddles and the artwork that was
so vivid,
created, right?
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I know, it really was. It was very pretty. So we came across hundreds and hundreds of motorcyclists, and they were there to protest something. And so I remember when the traffic had stopped, sometimes people go up and take photos with them. And I happened to ask a gentleman what was the whole protest about, and he gave me this impassioned speech, and he was letting me know what was going on, and I just nodded my head and I said, oh yes, oui. And
yeah, I had no idea what he was saying.
My pride and my ego wouldn't allow me to tell him that I didn't understand a word he said, so I just said, oh, merci bien and bonne chance, I said thank you and good luck, and he was very proud, and they were, oh my gosh, it was so fun to watch this hundreds and hundreds of motorcycles passing through, and we were honking and cheering them on and waving at them like they were rock stars, and
they looked like rock stars.
It was very cool.
Yes.
And it was so fun, and it was just the whole energy about it was just very it was very fun. It was fun, and it was beautiful. It was loud.
There's such a sense of community in Rouen, though.
Absolutely. All over France.
All over. Really, people are just constantly connecting. Oh, this is a beautiful shot.
Yeah. So here I am trying to get artistic again. I love to take photos, black and white, high contrast photos, because it gives me a different artwork. And I look for silhouettes, I look for the light, especially when the light is completely so bright that it's not as good for other photography, then I'll always look for this and I can create some art from it. And I love the way this is divided between the people and the pigeon there. Normandy. This is where we had a lot of veterans on the ship, and this was their main focus of coming on to this particular river cruise. And I'm not a history buff or war buff or anything, but I have to say that this was probably one of the most moving and touching trips on Itinerary. The first place that we went to in Normandy was the museum, and for me, this statue, the sculpture of this gun, is the perfect idea of what I think about war as well. But what was interesting about this museum was they had so many sculptures, images from the actual war, and I think the there was a number of videos that they were playing, and there was one. They did videos from the point of view of different countries. I mean, it could be they had some from China that had been affected by the Japanese, you know, during the World War II, and then of course many about with the French resistance and what have you. They brought all these, like, for example, these sceneries of the actual walls, and it was very, very moving. I think they had videos. There was one video where it was split screen, and on one side of the screen was actual footage taken during, I think it was going to be about an attack from the Allies section, and then the other side was footage taken from the German side, and they played it side by side, so you could see what was going on during the time leading up to this attack. It was so moving. They showed these men, and the ones that had been in the war. You can see their eyes there was nothing left, and it was so heartbreaking. And then there would be other videos or footage of. I remember this one in particular. This young boy. I mean, to me, he's like a boy. I know. He looks so young, and I could see his breathing was just breathing really heavy, and I think he was just a prisoner. They had just attacked. They had just got him as a prisoner, and I'm thinking about how this is somebody's son. This is somebody's brother, lover, husband, and I think it was just horrific. And I can't believe that even to this day we haven't learned the lessons. We haven't learned. We're still going through, and we need these reminders. And I was happy that I went, because I needed to see this. And it was interesting because after that, I've been going back and watching more World War II movies, trying to understand and develop an understanding of what they went through. And I think, God, I wish how everybody would be able to go to these type of museums, because it really is so educational. It was really so touching and moving and heartbreaking. And you see these photos, and you try to imagine what they're going through, and how lucky we are to be where we are. And we're also, the one on the left is a German uniform, but on the right is the bunker. I think what surprised me the most about the bunker was how big it was. I was expecting these bunkers to be really tight spaced or what have you, but this was actually an office there, and it was quite big. And this was very close to the museum there. And then we went to the beach. Omaha Beach. This is where the Americans landed. And it was really scary to see. You really saw how the Allies that landed onto the beach had no defense, and how open they were to the Germans. And one of the things that was so beautiful was on the left-hand side, Viking did a little memorial for the veterans, and they called all the veterans to the front. And they laid a wreath down for the soldiers who passed away. And it was I don't think there was any dry eyes there. And on the right, that showed how long the beach was. I mean, you're talking about, we have about 50 miles of beach that all between the Americans and the Allies had all come across on the attack on D-Day. And that was the memorial that was there. That was one of the sculptures on the right there for the soldiers. And then this is a cemetery. I guess one of the farmers or somebody who was there, they gave the land to the soldiers for the cemetery, and it's so immaculately kept, and each one was somebody's son, somebody's brother, somebody's husband, and one of the things is when they were putting down these graves, it's not done by alphabetical order or anything. It was pretty much done by whoever came in first. And this is just a tiny portion of the crosses. And you just keep going. I mean, it was such a huge area, and that's all you saw was crosses after crosses after crosses. And I think that's, you look at when you look at these crosses and you try to imagine them on the beach, it's just unfathomable. I just couldn't imagine. I just can't imagine what these men went through. I have no clue. It was so heartbreaking, and it was really incredible. And like I said, the whole place is very well manicured. They manicured these trees supposedly to look like parachutes, which I don't quite get, but I just thought it was beautiful, and it was so well kept. And I think one of the things that when I was leaving the area, I happened to stop and see that everybody was faced in one direction. I went to go check to see what they were doing, and they were lowering the flag. And so I stopped to pay my respects as well, and everybody stood still to watch the flags go down. And I had to run back to the bus. I was the last one on the bus, but I did make it on time. But as I was walking, and they had lowered the flag, they played, I started hearing somebody playing the bugle taps. And I don't think I've ever heard it played so beautifully. It was as if every note was just so full of emotion and so beautiful. You'd think that it was the first time that they were playing it. But it was, oh, sorry. Yeah, it was nice to see. I'm sorry about that. This is being on the river and the serenity that you felt. Just when it just gliding through, and we saw the small little waves, and it goes very slow, so you don't feel it moving. It's just like a moving picture going through. So we arrived on the town Les Andelys, I believe it is called. I apologize if I pronounce it wrong, but I mean, you come across all these beautiful churches and buildings and what have you, and it's driving into these tiny little towns. Yeah, so when we got off, then there was a chateau on the top of the hill that we had to walk up this hill. Can we move to the next one? There we go. Okay. So this one over there on the left, you can see the Chateau Gaillard, and on the little town that we crossed through in order to get there. It's just very quiet. Everything's so quiet and peaceful. It's just really beautiful. And I remember you went and jumped into an antique store and bought some beautiful things too.
Oh my gosh, I love French antiques. Yes, that was very exciting. I love going to these towns and these tiny little villages and seeing what they have to offer, because it's something so unique that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, it really was fun. And and as we're climbing up, like I said, these people, they like to decorate their homes with whatever designs that they have, and this little sculpture we found on somebody's rooftop, and it was so cute. So I had to take a photo of that, and then we have people decorating there with the flowers, and it's just so pretty. I mean, they really take pride in presentation in everything that they do, whether it's in their homes, their clothes, their food. it's all about presentation for them, and they do it so elegantly and so cute.
Oh.
And, yes, and then this was
Chateau
Gaillard, yes, and it was a bit of a hike there, but the view that you got on top was just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
It felt otherworldly, honestly. It felt like we were in a fantasy novel. I've never seen something so beautiful and serene. It was very early in the morning. There weren't very many people there. The grass was super green. It was dead quiet. And you just see these ruins, and it's so incredible to try to imagine what this place must have looked like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. My mind couldn't even comprehend it.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, look at it's just a beautiful large area, and then off in the distance you see fields and farms, and then you see the Seine River, and you see there's just such a beautiful scenery and colors. Look at you have the greens and the blues, and then you have the oranges and the browns from the chateaus, and it's just a feast for the eyes. And as a photographer, everywhere you look is a photo. It's just absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And this is a view from the top there, looking into the Seine River, and where we get to sail along. It's so pretty. And then we arrive into Lupec, and this is Chateau Saint-Germain-en-Laye, and it was also a beautiful. They have a beautiful park as well over there, and a cute little town. It's more of a city. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is a house.
Yes, this is I met some locals, and they were saying, oh, you should go visit Chateau de Monte Cristo. So this is the home of Alexandre Dumas, who wrote The Count of Monte Cristo, and I loved that book. And so I got very excited, and it was a 20-minute walk to get here. I had enough time, thank goodness from the itinerary, I had enough time to go and do whatever we wanted. And so I headed off to the Chateau de Monte Cristo, and this is one of my favorite places, because the park that when he moved in here, he bought enough land because his gardens, he wanted to have some gardens. This is inside the house, which was obviously very beautiful too. But even the gardens was just so quiet and peaceful, and you just hear birds chirping, and it was just absolutely peaceful. And the tour guide that was there, she was explaining to me that although he did hunt when he was younger, he stopped hunting, and he decided he wanted to have this home on this area, this land, and he wanted to have a lot of animals there. So he had from dogs to cats to birds to monkeys to all kinds of animals apparently on this park. And you can feel so much nature walking through his gardens, and it was just a quiet, peaceful, beautiful place. That's actually one of my favorite places to have visited, was this Chateau de Monte Cristo. That really was beautiful.
Look at the detail on that ceiling.
So the rooms were just so beautiful, and even the windows, the stained glass windows, the views from all the windows from that was on the other rooms were just absolutely gorgeous. And I think this was a church or something on his property too. It had a little tiny pond, and everything was done so quaintly. I mean, I can't even imagine what it must have been like at that time living there. I mean, as an author, he's created this place that was like a fantasy land for him to write about, and his story obviously was very amazing. It was incredible. I remember reading this. It was just an amazing story.
It's cool to see where the inspiration came from.
Exactly. But then what he went through a lot too.
Yes.
No, it was just this is a view from Saint-Germain-en-Laye, and we're looking down, and it is a city, and it's just a beautiful, to see the river there, and all the beautiful homes, and there were some. Actually, it was interesting because you could see private homes.
Oh, this was my favorite house. This was so cool because not only does it look like a castle, but in their backyard, they had made this little maze through their hedges, and they had all these statues. And it's just incredible to just imagine somebody living in this place.
It's like little mini chateaus, you know, there's like a private residence of mini chateaus, and just one right after the other. It was just so interesting to see. And because we were up high, we were able to kind of peek through here instead of, because obviously when you're down there, you know, there's walls that you can't see through. So it was really interesting to take a peek and see what the private residences were actually like. And this is another one of my little artistic endeavors here. I love trees. I just love trees. And these are, believe it or not, this is not like a cut off type of tree. This is manicured this way. I love to turn it into black and white, make it more of an art form. And on the next video, you'll see what they look like. This is exactly the corner of it. So you'll see that I didn't actually cut it, but they were manicured this way. I like to do, like I said, the high contrast type of black and whites that make it a little bit more interesting and just more, shows more of the form and silhouettes and what have you. So this was fun for me to do as well. Then in Le Pec, we have, oh my goodness, the pastries. They're all, like I said, you know, whether it's food or buildings or fashion, everything is styled so beautifully. I mean, you know,
French desserts are just such a work of art.
They are. You almost don't want to eat it.
No, I feel bad. I feel guilty. I don't want to. I want to take it home with me. You know?
It's just so gorgeous. Everything's done with so much care and presentation, and it's just beautiful. And of course, they even taste better. So we found out. Eating.
Yes, yeah. We unfortunately found out.
Yeah. Yes, a lot of eating,
but we had a blast.
Yes, and it's nice because these patisseries, they'll be working right there, so you can watch them making whether it's the pastries or creperies or what have you. See the work that they're doing, and it's so fun to watch.
Oh, the craftsmanship that goes into it. It's
absolutely, it's beautiful. And these were everywhere. I mean, the flowers were just blooming, and this was in a little pot that I saw in the streets in Saint-Germain-en-Laye, and I just thought it was just such pretty colors. They're so dainty, full of details and beauty, just like the rest of them.
Oh, this is back in Paris,
and we're back in Paris. We're back in Paris, and. Oh, I hate to see an end to the trip.
It makes me sad. I miss it.
I know, me too.
That really was an incredible trip. It really,
yeah, and it was so relaxing. The service and I mean everything on the boat was just everything was taken care of. All we had to do was just have fun.
Yeah.
And relax, and did a lot of eating.
A lot of eating.
A lot of wine.
A lot of wine. But it was really nice because it's very rare for us to do a mommy-daughter trip and to be able to spend this much time together and seeing new things in the world that we've never seen before. You know, these are memories that I'm going to take with me for the rest of my life. So
me too.
It's just so great to be able to have that time together.
That was a great trip. It really was. It was fun, and I recommend it highly to anybody. And it was so much, especially with the Normandy thing, was so much emotions and beauty and you know it really I think touched a lot of different range of emotions for me on this trip, it was fantastic. And
we learned so much. I saw incredible things. Yeah. Everything was just, it's a good reminder to get you out of your bubble, to see things that are different from your way of life, or, you know.
Yeah, we learned so much about the different cultures, and I have to say, I was quite proud of being able to get around with the little French that I know. Boosted my ego up a bit.
A little too much, but we had fun.
We had a lot of fun.
We learned a little bit more French. Yeah, we tried.
We did.
Yeah.
So thank you. It's a very highly recommended trip. My first river cruise, and hopefully not the last. So thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation of mine to show you my pictures, to talk about our trips, because it's so nice to be able to share what we felt and what we saw with you.
I hope you get to go on a trip similar to this, and I hope you feel as much excitement and joy as we did.